Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where you'll be checking out a video from a French woman. I checked out a video from her before talking about, how it was like being in the United States, but this video is a much more important video in my humble opinion, and it's titled Why France Bans These Popular American Foods. So this video I should be able to find out what are banned in France that are American food, and the reason for it, which would be a lot better, more informative, in terms of health reasons. So thank you for watching this video. Link for the original video will be in the description and also in the pinned comment section. If you want to recommend videos and I'll check them out as soon as possible, just click that link in the pinned comment section as well. And I'll check it out as soon as possible. Without further ado, let's go right to this video.
Peanut butter M&Ms are my absolute favorite American snack, but apparently they're also potentially carcinogenic and even illegal in France where I live because of their dangerous ingredients. Like seriously, if you look at those news articles about harmful—
Wait, what?
Live because of their dangerous ingredients. Like seriously.
No way. Dude, what? Illegally? Nah, this ain't where we at, right? This is not where we're at, bro. Like, this feels like, some backdoor, white product type. You know what I'm trying to reference, right? This is insane. I really do love M&M's though. Shout out to Eminem. But this is insane, dude. What?
If you look at those news articles about harmful—
And that was October 17, 2024, dude. This is not even old.
American products, you wouldn't really expect that they're just talking about candy. It turns out that M&Ms and a lot of colorful American snacks are technically banned in Europe because of the dyes that make them so bright. Obviously, I'm not a food scientist, so I'm using this app called Yuka to scan the barcodes of these potentially banned foods and tell me what's going on. So the exact issue with this particular pack of M&Ms is called Yellow 5, and you've probably guessed it, it's a yellow dye, and it's not really good news because it's suspected to contribute to hyperactivity in children. And here, if you're like me, you're probably wondering, why do we need this bad stuff in our food? And for that, we have to look together at Fruit Loops. And in particular, this ingredient comparison. The first thing you notice is that there's way more ingredients in the US version, and a lot of the bad ones in red are the food dyes we talked about, but there's also Yeah,
that's crazy. Like, I cannot imagine the Fruit Loops like having this, this much freaking ingredients, but taste the rainbow. I think that's the slogan. But yeah, it's insane to think about. Like, why is there so many ingredients? Like, for what exact reason? But they have vitamin. A lot of these ingredients are vitamins, though. Reduced iron, vitamin B6, B2, D3, B12. These are vitamins, a lot of them. But I think they're not necessary.
HT, which is potentially carcinogenic. And meanwhile, if you look at the European version, it uses natural dyes like carrots, cherries, and radishes. And these are all very reassuring words to read when you're buying cereal, and almost makes you disregard the sugar.
Cereal. Damn. Cereal. Okay. That was a unique pronunciation of cereal. Cereal. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, I like that.
All very reassuring words to read when you're buying cereal, and almost makes you disregard the sugar content. But if we look at what's inside the box, I have to say that the European version looks so sad compared to the American version. So yeah, that's one of the many reasons why we have those additives, is to make foods more attractive to consumers in a way, and obviously increase profit.
But you want me to tell you something as a editor myself? Do you know that with the American product right there, if you actually put it in a software and you were supposed to edit it and you made the colors richer, would you believe me that after you process the image, you would look at the old American picture that you're seeing right here and you would think that it's dull? It's reality. If you have a phone or anything and you can edit a picture on it, try to increase the saturation on a picture that, in your opinion, has beautiful colors already. And once you've done that, compare what the picture looks like before and after, and the one that looks before, you're actually going to look at it, it's like, whoa, it's almost black and white, because that's what our human eyes does to us. It's just like, when it's night and you have lights on, when you turn the light off immediately, it's extremely dark. However, your eyes actually adjust. And it's the same thing with these colors. So actually, if we were supposed to get rid of the American colors and just worked with the European colors, we would actually be in a way better situation because our eyes would adjust to that, and that would seem to us very rich.
To the American version. So yeah, that's one of the many reasons why we have those additives, is to make foods more attractive to consumers in a way, and obviously increase profit. And let me tell you, there's no better example of that than the next food we're gonna talk about. And by the way, you might think you're safe if you're not eating processed foods, but that's not fully the case, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But I need to tell you about the most controversial food of them all, which is Flamin' Hot Cheetos. So Flaming Hot Cheetos are so fascinating to me. First, because I've never had them and they have almost a cult following, but also because they're at the center of a controversy that sums up the whole issue with banned foods pretty well. So yeah, a lot of people are calling out Flaming Hot Cheetos for the ingredients that are very, very bad for you, and also for being very addictive. Like, apparently once you try them, you just can't stop eating them. So as I was telling you...
Bullshit. I love Cheetos, but I think addiction is all about... what you'd say, the state of your life. You know what I mean? Like, people could say Cheetos is addictive. I don't think it is, because I love chips and I still don't eat them. Like, I don't eat them. I love them though, but I still don't eat them. Like, my favorite is Doritos, of course, but I can get a bag of Doritos for this month and I could never touch it back until I'm like, okay, fine, I'll touch it again. So I do believe that this addiction thing is probably like where you're at in life, your circumstances, what you're used to. Do you have you developed sufficient restraint and training? Let me know what y'all think.
I've never had Flaming Hot Cheetos. That's just not a thing in France. So, I just want to see it for myself and try them and see what's going on. Yeah, just looking at this, it smells and looks like there's going to be banned additives in it. Oh, wow. It is spicy.
Gotta get to it. Yeah.
Wow. This is the most intense chip I've ever tried. And, I understand why people are addicted to it. It is pretty good, but as someone who never eats processed food, it just tastes like the banned ingredients. And I think if I had kids, I wouldn't want them to eat this. And I understand why parents are freaking out and don't want them in schools in the US. And just to be clear, them being addictive is not the only issue. My app rates them a 2 out of 100, and they have even more food dyes that are controversial and linked to many issues like attention disorders, cancer, and other diseases. And
attention disorder?
California actually passed a law to ban Flaming Hot Cheetos and other foods like them that contain those controversial food dyes. And this is all great and all, but as a European, I had to do a double take, and my main question was like, why would schools even serve Flaming Hot Cheetos in the first place? I personally don't need a law to see that these are not good for you. So here I did what I usually do when I don't understand an American thing. I just asked my American boyfriend, Bobby, who is from Chicago, and our conversation was very eye-opening and went like this. Question for you: why would junk food be sold in schools in the US? I saw a law banning Flaming Hot Cheetos.
What do you mean? It's food. We used to have vending machines in our school.
And I feel this really shows how different the mindset.
Vending machines. The vending machine. I'm not gonna lie, vending machines come in real handy. But like I said, it all goes down to the lifestyle in the United States, because in Finland, now I live in Finland, I don't go to a vending machine. I don't think I've ever seen a vending machine in Finland, right? But in the United States, you'll just be walking in the mall, or it could be any place really, and there's a vending machine, and you grab a little Coke, you grab a little honey bun, you grab a little Cheetos, a little small Dorito pack. It's bad. It's really, really bad.
Are in the US and in the EU. Like, my first idea was just like, let's just ban this. Like, why is this not banned? We have to ban it. Whereas Bobby feels like it's more a question of personal choice. I grew up with the idea that if there's a chance that something might be bad, we should ban it until it's proven safe. And that's what's called the precautionary principle, which is a big pillar of European regulations and the philosophy behind why so many things are banned in the EU. In the US, it's the opposite. Food additives are usually allowed until until they're proven to be harmful at the levels people usually consume. And the mindset is more like, hey, it's your choice, you can decide if you want to take the risk. Here it puts the responsibility on the individual, which is great in theory. Everyone should be entitled to making their choices. Like, even though I eat mostly fresh food, I do enjoy some processed foods from time to time. And I'm not saying we should ban every processed food. But the reality is usually proving something is bad actually takes forever. And it's really hard to link a specific disease to a specific food. And by the time it's proven, the harm is already done. And the difference between these two mindsets is why the US allows more than 10,000 additives and the EU around 300. But this doesn't mean that the additives allowed in the EU are not controversial. And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a bit, but first I can't talk about controversial additives without talking about Mountain Dew. And the story around Mountain Dew is fascinating to me and such a good example of the role we play as consumers, and also of how things are actually a bit more complex than we think. Alright, so you've probably heard the crazy claim a few years ago that there's flame retardant in your Mountain Dew. And this actually comes from this Facebook post that blew up in 2017 that literally just said that. The post went super viral, it had 1 million shares, a lot of different newspapers starting reporting that Mountain Dew had flame retardant. More on that in a bit, but the post did have a real impact, among with other things, because this lady wrote to PepsiCo, which is the company that makes Mountain Dew, and they actually answered. They removed the controversial additive from the product. And honestly, I really like that because it shows how much power we have as consumers. And just so you know, it's actually super easy to call out some brands. Both resources I've used to research this video actually make it super easy to do so. The app I was showing you even has a feature called Call Out the Brand, where you can send a pre-written message to the brand telling them to remove the bad additives. Alright, now as we should, let's fact check the Facebook post. So there was never actual flame retardant in the Mountain Dew, but there was an ingredient called brominated vegetable oil that's also used in making flame retardants, and that was used in Mountain Dew and many other sodas to keep the drink different flavors from separating. And it was just banned by the FDA in 2024, which is really great news, but also comes a bit late since the EU has banned it since 2008. And
damn, dude. So you're pretty much trying to tell me that if I actually ever get to get a nice, bottle of Dew, it's gonna be different. Okay, like the thing is, I don't drink sodas, wouldn't recommend it, but I do drink soda. But I'm not a habitual drinker of soda, so I won't buy a soda and have it in my house. If I drink a soda, it's because I'm on the move, right? So I'm outside, and I cannot eat the regular way how I wish I could. So that's the only time. But damn, dude, this is tragic. It took so long for it to, be banned.
By the way, if you're like me and you're just wondering why the companies are not removing the bad ingredients, well, the reason is that they don't really have a strong enough incentive to do so unless we stop buying their products or the EU or the FDA forces them to remove some additives, because it's actually very expensive to change the recipe of a product. Like if we come back to the M&Ms, they used to contain something called titanium dioxide, which apparently is used to make candies shiny and also is suspected to be carcinogenic. Well, this ingredient was banned in 2020 in the EU. M&M's was forced to change the recipe, and apparently it cost them 44 million euros to do so and 4,000 hours of work. And also keep in mind that in terms of bad additives, the quantity you consume actually plays a big role. Like for Mountain Dew, most of the health issues people were having actually came from extreme cases where people drank gallons of Mountain Dew every single day, which, is another issue. I'm no doctor, but I do know that consuming gallons of sugar drinks every day is not good for you. And, if you're thinking you're safe because you don't drink gallons of soda and a ton of candy every single day, just know that there's American whole foods and natural products that are also banned in the EU, like eggs. If you're from the US, you know that you have to keep your eggs in the fridge. But actually, when you shop for eggs in the EU, it kind of looks like this. Like here I am at my local shop and eggs are not refrigerated, like they're on a random shelf. And it's because US eggs are actually washed in the US, which kind of destroys a protective coating that's on the shell of the egg.
I actually watched an American explain this in a video. He had a quite good explanation. I'm not sure how factual the information was, but he was referenced in something with why it is very important for them to be washed. I think he was saying that because the United States is so large, and the delivery, right? So the eggs gotta get delivered to all these different places, and the best thing that you can potentially do on those long journeys where temperatures and humidities and everything change is to keep it in a refrigerated zone, whereas the eggs will remain a constant temperature, right? And pretty much he was just explaining that because I'd imagine with European eggs, they're not as traveled as American eggs, because for a person in America the eggs could be coming from real far away, and for Europe it's much smaller, I imagine. So I'm not sure if it was a very good clarification, because at the same time I don't know if those are factual informations, but what he was saying does sound factual. But you guys can let me know your POV on that.
And once this coating is gone, the eggs are more vulnerable to bacteria and they do need to be refrigerated. In the EU, the eggs are not washed, so it's pretty common to see the eggs with poops or feathers. And once again, I find that interesting because what's considered safe varies so much from country to country. Like, for example, American chicken is washed with chlorine, which apparently is to protect the consumer from salmonella, but this is actually not allowed in the EU. And it's not only chicken, American beef or any kind of meat that has been treated with hormones is banned in the EU since 1981, so you can only import hormone-free beef to Europe, and that's one of the reasons why McDonald's actually uses French beef in France. Now let's talk about a food that most of us consume pretty regularly, which is apples. Apples are treated with a ton of pesticides everywhere, but there's one in particular that has been banned in the EU since 2014 and is found in 80% of apples in the US. It prevents apples from developing black patches, and the EU here is calling for more research to be done on it before they allow it, because it could potentially cause cancer under certain conditions. Anyways, a bit of nuance. Here's the thing. I bought both the M&Ms and the Flaming Hot Cheetos in France fully legally, even though they contain all these bad additives. And the reason why is because not bad ingredients are totally banned in the EU. Actually, a lot of them are more restricted, which means that in this exact example you can use them, but you do need to include a warning on the label. Like here it says in French, may have adverse effects on activity and attention in children.
What? That's where we at? That's crazy. So it's legal, but it has a huge warning. That warning should probably be on the front. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I don't really know nobody be looking at the back. But I get it. We trying to sell, so so on and so forth. But the warning should probably be on the front. But that's crazy.
Children. But there's also additives that both Yuka and the Environmental Working Group, which were my main sources for this video, actually consider harmful and that are allowed in the EU in limited quantities. So it's not just black and white. Like, we're kind of in a the dose makes the poison type of situation. And it's not as simple as saying this food is banned, so it's bad, this food is allowed, so it's safe. It is a complicated topic. As consumers, there's a lot we don't understand. And obviously what the EU and the US think is safe can be influenced by many things, including, as I've told you, what we think as consumers, but also other stuff I won't get into, like policy or lobbying. So if you want to avoid this and eat better food, obviously the first thing to do is getting...
Nah, I do agree. You gotta just be informative. Well, not informative, but you just gotta be informed about these different things, because it's your body at the end of the day. The freedom to eat whatever you want to eat, whether it's bad or good for you. That risk. It's just what it is. So I do understand. However, it's quite unfortunate that this is where we're at in life, because some of these products, probably shouldn't even exist in the first place. But at the end of the day, as a guy who once was really, really, really addicted to sodas when I was younger, I understand the urgency. Well, not the urgency, but the addiction to it. Because it's like a nice cold beverage that you just drink it up and stuff like that. So I get it, but at the same time, these things are very bad for human's body. Obviously, you can see that. And the reality is most people who consume these are not consuming them in small quantities. They're consuming them in large quantities. So you can see how easily that bad becomes 10 times worse. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please do talk to your boy in the comment section. Please do like and subscribe as usual. And yeah, I'm out of here. Peace.